Good morning. It's actually pretty easy to cherry pick data and come up with conclusions that are not actually supported by the data. This is a good example and why consumers of media are cynical and why they should be. It's from a survey conducted here in China, released in January of this year. The headline is that a record share of American companies in China are accelerating their plans to relocate manufacturing or sourcing out of China. 30% of respondents in the survey by the American Chamber of Commerce report having considered or started such diversification last year in 2024, and that was higher than the previous record high in 2022 of the companies who said so. The survey was of 368 companies here in China. And if we only read the first few paragraphs, we understand that there is a massive exodus underway of U.S. firms leaving China and that it is accelerating. It's even faster now than when Trump was president the first time. But when we read further in the same article about the same survey, we get to this. 2/3 of U.S. companies say they aren't going anywhere. They could have put that up at the top. Or this here. Technology, industrial, and consumer businesses said that China's domestic market is their best business opportunity for 2025. Or that services firms said that their biggest business was helping Chinese companies expand abroad. Or that Michael Hart, the president of the American Chamber in China, concludes that the membership still sees China as an enormous, critical market for their companies. Here is a report from last year, April 2024. This one is almost funny to read now. Headline: many U.S. companies are moving production to democratic nations. Beijing is furious. Their lead paragraph is that Foxconn, who builds almost everything that Apple puts its name and logo on, is opening a new plant in India. It's part of a broader trend of friendshoring, where American businesses move toward friendlier, more stable environments. The diplomatic situation between the U.S. and China is great news for countries with friendlier ties to the United States, such as Mexico, India, and Japan. Mexico attracted $30 billion in foreign investment, much of that from U.S. companies who are looking to build in Mexico instead of countries in Asia. In India, stable relations with the U.S., plus a booming population, is getting U.S. companies to move there. 61% of 500 U.S. executives would choose India over China for manufacturing if India had the same service as China. India doesn't have that, not even close, but let's put that in. And developments in Japan are equally revealing. And what we're seeing in Mexico, India, and Japan paint a clear picture. American companies are not entirely abandoning China, but they're looking hard at everywhere else. Here is how all that is turning out just 1 year later. In Mexico, all those car companies setting up there got hit with a 25% tariff. Now it's 15%. The tariffs on those cars and parts were 0, then 25%, then 15%, at least for now. Tomorrow, who knows? India got hit with a 25% tariff and has a couple of weeks left before that tariff goes to 50%. India, remember, has stable relations with the U.S. Now they're closer to Russia than ever. Japan was hit with high tariffs nobody saw coming. The baseline tariff now is 15%. And in order to get that, the Japanese need to invest over $500 billion directed by the United States, whatever that means. Now it's summer 2025 and nobody is going anywhere. Bloomberg: U.S. firms in China will stay put despite tariffs, or perhaps because of them, now that they know they'll be hit no matter where they go. Even if tariffs go back up, 41% will not change their plans on anything. And 21% would shift more production and sales into China. That's 62%. Companies large and small. And no respondents, zero, said that they would move their production to the United States, even if the tariffs go back up to 145%. The plan to bring manufacturing back to the United States is facing challenges. In the understatement of the year, American companies are localizing in China, no plans to leave. There has been no mass exodus of American companies out of China, and 70% of companies said that they are either maintaining or increasing their activities here. The Wall Street Journal included a report that details the concerns of these companies that operate in the United States and China and the risks that they face, and conclude that the size of China's market, supply chains, logistics, and skilled workforce mean the companies are staying. The headlines in the news reports told us that U.S. companies in China said that they were leaving. But the companies never really did say that. It is true that they were considering moving some supply chains around. Company managements are supposed to do that, always explore new opportunities to open new markets, and doing due diligence to see what works. For example, to build things in India for Indian consumers. But for anything going to the United States, the math doesn't work. Everyone is better off doing nothing at all. This is Shan in Hong Kong. Be good.
Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Ask, and it will be given to you.